And a very pleasant good morning and welcome to the WGTD Radio Theater rebroadcast from March of 2016. I'm Steve Brown, co-executive producer, and we are going to listen to The Jack Benny Show, starring Gary Stamm as Jack Benny. This was our 100th show in the series. We are now in our 18th season and have done well over 130 shows for the 30-time award-winning WGTD Radio Theater.
Jack?
Yes, Mary?
Do you know where Brown and Ulstrup are?
No, I don't, and I'm still waiting for some of the script to this show. After all, it is their 100th show. Not that I need a script, but I'm not paid that well to write the show, too.
Mr. Benny!
Well, that's just the problem, Jack. Some of the script is missing. We have parts of it, but not the whole thing.
Mr. Benny!
The script is missing? What do you mean, missing? Find it.
Mr. Benny!
Well, it's not exactly missing, Jack. It hasn't been finished.
Mr. Benny!
All right, Dennis. Dennis, what do you want? I'm a little busy here. We don't have a script for today.
Well, that's just it, Mr. Benny. Brown and Ulstrup just got back from the Colony House in Trevor. They were celebrating their 100th show a little too long and only got back to finish the script this morning. Listen!
Well, isn't this a fine mess? Mary, are the Dixie Dudes ready to go?
Jack, the Dixie Doos are always ready to go.
So I've heard. Give that conductor, Bill McGee, the cue to get started. Something upbeat to distract the audience while we try to figure out this mess.
Okay, Jack, here they go.
When he rattles his bones, old Parson Brown dancing round like a clown. Miss Virginia, who was past 83, shouting out full of pep, watch your step, like a Joe.
And a fine good morning to you. Folks, this is the 100th show of the WGTD Radio Theater. Today, to celebrate the 100th show in their 12th season, the 91.1 players bring you another episode of The Jack Benny Show. Today, we will bring you some special guests and reprise some special segments from our many shows from over the last 12 years. Support for the WJTD Radio Theater is the Kenosha law firm of Aaliyah, Dumais, Dunn & McTurnan, a full-service law firm and an emphasis on personal injury, civil litigation, and business law. Also supporting the WGTD Radio Theater is the non-for-profit Brown Ulstrup Performing Arts Foundation, located in Salem, Wisconsin. The mission of the foundation is to develop and promote excellence in the performing arts in Wisconsin and the Midwest. And now, here's Don Wilson for the new Jack Benny Show.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Don Wilson, and that opening music was from our special musical guests, the Dixie Dudes from Antioch, Illinois. Welcome to the new Jack Benny Show, starring with Jack are Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, and Dennis Day. The new Jack Benny Show is brought to you by Jello, Jello.
Don, ixnay on the LOJ. Ulstrup hates talking about sponsors that don't pay anything.
They don't pay?
No, they don't pay.
So there's no check to cash?
No check to cash.
Jeez, at least Jack gives us checks. Can't cash them, but we get checks.
Just move the show along.
And now, Jack Benny.
Thank you, everyone. Phil, can you believe this is the 100th episode of the WGT Radio?
I know what you mean, Jackson. From that first show time and time again back in 2005, and here we are with show 100.
Mr. Benny!
What do you think this show will be about, Jack?
Well, it's about us, of course. Why wouldn't it be? This is a big show, and after all, we're the biggest act around. I mean, just look at Don Wilson over here. Talk about big.
Say, when the only thing I get to eat are the donuts that the radio station buys for the cast, I'm gonna put on a few pounds.
A few pounds? You're a walking billboard for donuts everywhere.
You wanted to say a billboard for a certain purveyor of donuts and coffee, didn't you?
Yes, I did, but that Ulstrup is a stickler for sponsors paying their way.
And, Jack, speaking of paying...
Yes?
Yeah, Jack. When are we going to be paid for this gig?
Mr. Benny!
Yeah, Jack, lunchtime is coming up. I need some cash.
Mr. Benny!
Yes, Dennis, what do you want this time?
Oh, my mother wants to know when I'm going to be reimbursed for my travel expenses.
Travel expenses? What travel expenses? I paid you to get to Chicago, right?
Well, yes, Mr. Benny.
And I told you how to avoid the Illinois tollway to keep from spending money on tolls, right?
Oh, yes, you did, Mr. Benny.
So what did you spend money on to get here?
Well, I tried to get in the luggage compartment of the bus from O'Hare like you told me, but they made me buy a ticket.
Oh, that. Well, they didn't make you pay any tolls, did they?
Oh, no, Mr. Benny.
Well, that's good. Now, tell you what. Fill in an expense report, and I'll write a check for you. Attach the receipt, of course.
There's an expense report we can use? I never knew that. Did you know that, Phil?
No, I didn't, Mary.
Don?
Nope.
Well, we do have a farm. We are running a business here after all, and we have to do that sort of thing for the IRS.
And where do we get these expense reports, Jack?
Well, I keep them in the vault.
The vault? Where in the vault?
Well, I just walk down the steps, cross over the moat, walk down several more steps, turn on the light, a single light bulb, and turn the tumblers on the safe, making sure to not set off the whistles, sirens, bells, and blasts before ending with the sound of a foghorn. And then I say hello to Ed, who takes care of the money in the vault.
And Ed has the expense forms.
Oh, no, I couldn't have that. Too much chance for funny business. There's another safe with those forms. I keep that on the other side of the electric fence.
And once we get these forms, fill them in, attach the receipts, we will get a check?
Yes, once you get these forms, fill them in, attach to the receipts, have everything notarized twice, then you'll get a check.
And my mother can cash that check?
Cash the check? I don't know why you would want to do a thing like that. After all, my signature alone makes it a collector's item.
At least these checks will be signed.
Yeah, I have quite a collection now of your signatures, Jackson.
You know, we really should be figuring out what to do about Brown and Ulstrup still writing the script for the show.
I still don't understand how those two could put us in this situation. After all, I'm a big star. How far are those two?
Still at it.
Say, Jack,
Speaking of big stars,
maybe we should have Phyllis interview Mayor Dickert of Racine, Wisconsin.
Phyllis Diller is here? Why didn't anyone tell me?
And the mayor, Jackson.
Oh, yeah, him too. Well, get Phyllis out here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Racine, Wisconsin, the Honorable John Dickert.
And what about me?
Oh, and Phyllis Diller.
So, Mayor Dickert, why on earth are you here at this show?
Well, Phyllis, we're here to celebrate the 100th show of the WGTD Radio Theater.
Oh, that.
I'm surprised you're not more excited about it, Phyllis. It's quite a milestone. I mean, after all, aren't you getting close to 100? Well, years old?
Oh, everyone wants in the act. So, Mayor, when did you get to town?
Well, I only live in Racine. I just drove down to the studio this morning. It's only a few minutes away. What about you, Phyllis?
Well, I had to come in from California, so it took me a little longer.
But it had to take you quite a bit longer than when you first went out to California. Wasn't that by a covered wagon?
Oh, Mayor, you're just one-liner after the next. No, I flew here. No, not in a broom. Fang let me take a plane.
Well, that was nice of him.
Yeah, I guess. I got suspicious, though, when he booked me on Malaysian Airlines over the Indian Ocean.
I'm sure he meant nothing by it.
I'm not so sure. The other day, he told me he wished he had the chance to book me on the Titanic.
Well, maybe he meant the new one that they're building.
Oh, maybe, but trust me, I'm not doing that king of the world pose with him standing in the back of me.
Say, Mayor Dickert, did you bring any Kringles?
Well, I was going to, Jack, but they told me there wasn't enough Kringle and Racine to keep you fed.
Jack!
I was only thinking of other people who want some Kringle. Once you start eating, Don, there'd be some kind of national shortage.
Mayor, are you running for office this year?
No, not this year.
Oh, lucky you. This is really a crazy year for politics.
It sure is. I'm glad I'm out of it. I bet you've seen some races in your time.
Is there an Abe Lincoln joke coming my way?
I was thinking more like George Washington.
You know, I may be old, but I'm not that old.
So just how old are you, Phyllis?
I'm old enough to know to ask you if there is anything fun to do in Racine.
Well, you bet, Phyllis. There are all sorts of museums, theaters, restaurants, and events all over Racine. In fact, this weekend alone, the Gifford School Carnival takes place with all sorts of food and music, games, and great prizes. The Racine Theater Guild is comedy tonight, featuring Mark Marvel. And if you like some great laughs, and if you're in a hurry, you could hit the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade, which kicks off at noon.
Well, I guess there are quite a lot of things going on in Racine.
And before I go, I do want to congratulate everyone with WGTD Radio Theater here at Gateway for achieving this milestone of providing 100 great shows on our own local public radio station to the audiences here, in the studio, across the listening area, and around the globe on the World Wide Web. It's just another reason that we all love living in southeastern Wisconsin.
Well, thank you, Mayor John Dickert.
Say, Don, how about some music?
You bet, Jack. And here are the Dixie Dudes.
Big bands are back. I'm gonna take a sentimental journey. I'm gonna set my heart at ease. I'm gonna take a sentimental journey to renew old memories. And what have I got? I got my bag, I got my reservation. Spent each time I could afford. Like a child with wild anticipation, I long to hear that all aboard. 7, that's the time we're leaving. 7, I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. And I never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Let me hear you. I'm gonna take a sentimental journey. Sentimental journey home. Orchestra!
That was the Dixie Dudes.
So, Jack, now what? What do we do about not having a script?
If only someone could take up some time while we wait for those writers to do their job.
Hello, I'm Orson Welles.
Orson, what brings you here?
I happen to be here in Kenosha, this nasty little town, Although I never really said that, you know.
Yes, so you've told us, and told us.
I happen to be listening to WGTD FM 91.1 FM in Racine and Kenosha, 101.7 in Elkhorn, and 103.3 in Lake Geneva. And heard that Brown and Alstrup left you high and dry.
Yes, something about too much celebrating at the Colony House in Trevor.
Ah, yes, the Colony House. They always pour a good drink, serve a first-class steak, and offer a hearty Cabernet. Maybe I'll stop out there tonight. I hope Patty is working tonight. Best waitress in town, knows exactly what to order.
Say, Mary, why is Alstrup okay with talking about the colony?
Like Orson said, they pour a good drink.
So you were listening to the radio?
Oh, yes, that's right. I heard your plight and thought I could reprise my famous radio commercial recording for your audience. It's been featured on WGTD radio many times, and in fact, it's been played on the Howard Stern Show.
Now there's a reference.
Say, Jackson, I think we ought to go with this.
Oh, very well. Take it away, Orson Welles.
I will need a couple of extras to handle some parts.
Oh, I'm sure we have a 91.1 player or two hanging around.
Then silence, please, while I center myself. Hello, I'm Orson Welles. We know a remote farm in Walworth where Mrs. Buxley lives. In July, peas grow there. Do you really mean that? I don't understand. We aren't even in the fields yet, you see.
Yes, we are, Mr. Wells.
We're talking about them growing, and she's already picked them, and we have a big bowl of hot peas with warm butter drizzled all over them. That's what we have.
Yes, Mr. Wells, in July, where fields are covered with snow. And, Mr. Wells, you need to emphasize the word in.
Why? That doesn't make any sense. I never heard anyone who would emphasize the word in. There is no known way in the English language where you begin a sentence with in and then emphasize it.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes, always. I'm already past that. In fact, get me a jury and show me how you can say in July, and I will sing a song for you. This is absolutely idiotic. That is just stupid, impossible, meaningless. I'd love to know just how you would emphasize in July.
Then let's change it to every July.
No, you don't really mean every July, do you? Who said that?
I did.
Who the hell are you? What, now I have two directors telling me how to read in July? That's bad copy. Of course it's every July.
We should move on to the next commercial.
This is crazy. You don't know what I'm up against. This is quite weary. It's all quite unpleasant. And I thought we had done these spots before. In fact, I distinctly remember recording them before.
You did, Mr. Wells. The sponsor wants fresh takes.
Fresh takes? What on earth for? I'm Orson Welles. I did it right the first time. Why waste my time and their money on such useless exercises?
I'm not sure. Sales just said to get it done.
Sales? Sales? They are as bad as lawyers. I swear, if they could turn a buck, they would shake a tambourine and strum a banjo to make a sale. What do they care if they are wasting my time?
Mr. Wells, we really need to finish these up.
Here, under protest, is beef burgers. Hello, I'm Orson Welles. We know a little place in the American Far West where a man named Charlie Briggs, who chops up the finest prairie-fed sirloin beef foot. This is a bunch of crap, you know that, don't you?
Actually, Mr. Wells, you missed a word there.
Okay, thanks, Orson. That'll be just fine.
But I'm not finished.
Oh, I know, but Brown and Alstrup are getting close to having some of that script done, and I'd hate to take up the time. Well, your more valuable time. I mean, I insist.
Well, if you insist, Jack, I hope that helped you out.
Oh, it did. It did.
Then I'll be off.
That was the great Orson Welles!
Oh, thank goodness you got rid of him, Jack.
Orson Welles pulls that old chestnut every time he does that cane shadow bit on the WGTD Radio Theater.
Speaking of the radio theater, how are those writers doing?
They're still at it.
Hey, since when do we have such a fancy doorbell?
It can only mean my neighbors, Ronald and Benita Coleman from the Halls of Ivy.
Oh, Jack, we heard the news that Brown and Alstrop left you without a script, and we had to rush right over.
Yes, old boy. Such good neighbors, we wanted to see how we could help.
Oh, you know, we heard Orson Welles reprising that famous recording of that awful radio commercial. Perhaps Ronnie could reprise one of his roles for you.
Oh, what a brilliant idea, darling. Which way are you thinking?
Well, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is a scene from The Halls of Ivy. The Halls of Ivy. What do you think of that, Jack?
Something from the Halls of Ivy?
The Halls of Ivy.
Now, cut that out. That might work. What else have you got?
Oh, there is, of course, that wonderful role that Ronnie played in that picture.
You mean my role on the motion picture, A Double Life?
Oh, yes, Ronnie, the very same motion picture in which you won the Academy Award. It was such a wonderful role, darling.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
Now, who could that be?
Mr. Benny?
Dorchester, what are you doing here? Where's your brother Rochester?
He's back in London.
London? What is he doing there? He told me he was taking some time off, but I had no idea.
No news there, you not having an idea. Yes, he took some of the money that he had diligently saved from the meagre salary that you pay your employees, and he crossed the pond to visit me.
But why hasn't he come back?
With that paltry amount you pay him, he could only afford the ticket to London, not one to return.
Sounds about right.
Sure does.
All right, everyone. So Dorchester, why are you here?
Well, I stopped by to tell the Colemans that the crew is here to interview them about their show.
Here we go again.
The Halls of Ivy.
We love the Halls of Ivy.
Oh, that's right, darling. We have that interview.
Oh, how silly of us, darling. I guess we got all caught up wanting to help our dear neighbor.
Yes, helping your neighbor. Well, it sounds like you two have to be off.
Indeed it does, Jack. Do let us know if we can help out. Later, of course.
Of course.
That was Ronald and Benita Coleman.
Say, Dorchester, you never told me why you came all the way from London.
Well, given that my brother had to take a job in London to earn a return ticket, and knowing that you need someone to take care of things at your home, I came in instead until he returns.
When will he be back?
Well, with what he can earn on the set of Downton Abbey, he'll be back in about a week.
That sounds about right.
Yes, it does.
Now, cut that out. I'm not that cheap, am I? Am I? Don Wilson, get on with the show.
One of the founding members of the WGTD Radio Theater, Don Jensen, passed away a few years ago and has been missed ever since. He wrote a short radio play that we would like to bring to you this morning. We did edit it a bit to fit in the time we have. And now, the WGTD Radio Theater brings you Meanwhile, Back in Emerald City, written by Don Jensen, with a nod of appreciation to L. Frank Baum, creator of the original story, The Wizard of Oz.
What are we going to do now, Andy?
Would you look at that? You'd think the old guy had a rocket under that hot air balloon the way it took off like that.
Andy, pay attention. We've got to talk. We've got a problem. A big problem.
Just a dot in the sky, smaller and smaller and smaller. I don't get it, Jeff. He was just supposed to help the kid and the dog into the balloons basket and then jump out. They've had made it back home safe and sound without him, just like we planned.
It was that mutt that screwed things up. He jumped out and the girl right behind him. Not the professor. He just stood there like the big dummy he is. And with the loss of that weight, the confounded balloon just took off, taking our whiz away off to who knows where.
Omaha, I guess, back to the state fair. Gone for good.
Yeah, and it was all so unnecessary, because then Glenda...
Glinda, the good witch of the north.
Yeah, Glenda. She showed up and told the kid...
Nice kid, too, Jeff, don't you think? Cute, spunky. I always thought she looked a lot like a young, what's her name? Judy Garland.
Told Dorothy she didn't need the balloon. Didn't need the professor, didn't need any of us. All she had to do was click those red heels and wish herself back home. And just like that, she did. Whoosh! And now, just like our dear departed Wiz, they're back in the USA.
Meanwhile, back in Emerald City, our two No, let's not call them friends. Friends are those we like, and these two, in truth, are not particularly likable. And they do have a very real problem. But more on that later. It is Mr. Jensen, not Mr. Baum, who is responsible for creating the two new characters we've just met. Jeffrey L. Filch, former head of corporate relations, and Andrew F. Steele, until recently, information technology director for a huge, but now failed, Texas corporation. And when that corporation went south, so to speak, Filch and Steele went north in the company's Learjet, headed for remote Iceland, skipping out just ahead of the indictments. Now, somewhere over Wichita, they've run into a storm. A really bad storm.
Jeff, I can't hold it steady. The plane's starting to yaw and roll. I think we're in a twister.
Do something, Andy, for God's sake.
What's that? Look, out there. It looks like a house, a farmhouse. It's spinning around and around.
And there, on the right, just off the wingtip, it's an old lady on a bicycle. What in the...
Jeff, I'm losing it. The stick, the rudder, nothing. We're spinning, tumbling, and over, and we're gonna crash.
Gradually, the dust settles. We see a mass of scrap metal, aluminum alloy, crushed fiberglass. Wisps of smoke twist upward from a crumpled jet engine. But remarkably, the two fugitives have survived. They crawl from the twisted wreckage, alive and miraculously unhurt. They look around.
Andy, are you okay?
I think so. No broken bones, I think. And you?
Ditto, unscathed, thank goodness. But where are we? I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Everything's so green. The grass, the trees, even those towers and turrets over that hill. It's a city, an emerald city.
Indeed. As you must have guessed, Filch and Steele somehow found their way to Oz. But of course, some distance from where Dorothy's house has just flattened a witch. As her story plays out, our boys make their way to the Green Metropolis. There they find Professor Marvel, intrepid balloonist and part-time snake oil salesman, having blown in on an earlier storm, now ensconced as ruler of the land, the one, the only, the mighty and omnipotent Wizard of Oz.
Oh, Marvel's a hustler, all right, but he's got a couple of serious personality flaws. Underneath that admirably crass exterior, he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah, too bad that. But happily for us, he's also got an illumination problem. He's not very bright. So we quickly stepped in and became the power behind the man behind the curtain. We propped and we prepped the Wiz in what to do and what to do say. With handsome salaries and plenty of perks, it's been a good life, a very good life, better even than back in Houston.
We've got everything we could want. Money, a comfortable castle, well-stocked bar, indoor pool, lots of pretty girls, even a color TV.
If by color TV you mean an all-green screen.
Yes. The boys have it pretty good, all right. But there's trouble a-brewing. You know the story. Dorothy and company kill the witch, return to the wizard for their payoff, and discover him to be a fraud and a humbug. He offers to return her to Kansas in his repaired balloon. But then, a major glitch. Contrary to their plans, Marvel sails off into the blue. Now Filch and Steele are without their whiz, their stooge, their meal ticket to the good life. And unless they can find a substitute, and quickly, to take his place as the mighty omnipotent Oz, they're in danger of losing it all.
Jeez, I thought that flashback would never end. But here we are, back to the present with all that backstory stuff explained. So as I was saying when the program began... What are we going to do now, Andy? We got a problem, a big problem. Huge. Where are we going to find a new Wizard of Oz? And quick, before the natives start to get restless.
I thought about that. You think you're the only one with brains? But I had an idea this morning, and I sent an email to Glinda.
The good old witch of the north?
Yeah, right. Asked her to stop by this afternoon. You know, she could be a wizard just as easily as she's a witch, and the people just love her. There she is now. I'll get the door. Oh, hi, Glinda.
Hello, boys. How are you today? And what a lovely, wonderful day it is, too.
No, I wouldn't know about that, Glenda. Anyway, we're glad you could stop by this afternoon.
Oh, no trouble at all. I'm always delighted to see you two. I was at a baptism of twin munchkin babies this morning when I got your email on my iPhone. Such darling little infants, and I mean little. I was there to congratulate the happy parents and be godmother to the little tykes.
Yeah, Glenda, very nice. Very good of you and all that. But we have more serious things to attend to.
And then it was off to the Lollipop Kids Elementary School for show and tell day. Those youngsters were just jumping up and down with glee, showing me their puppies and bottle cap collections and their ant farms. Did you boys know there are 47 different species of ants in Munchkin Land? Not counting Aunt Bee from Mayberry, of course. and Jemima.
Huh? Aunt Bee? Aunt Jemima?
I'm just joking. I'm such a kidder, you know. Anyway, I came over as soon as I could after I got your email. You said it was important. I'm due at 4 o'clock tea with the Emerald City Ladies' Aid, so I thought I'd pop in here before to find out what's so urgent.
And we appreciate it, Glenda. We really do. But we have a major problem. A serious glitch. The Wiz is gone, you know.
Right.
And we need a new Wiz. Here. Now. And quickly. There's a power vacuum in Emerald City, and if we don't act fast, who knows what local ward healer will rise up from the citizenry, thinking that he should be the new Wizard of Oz. And then where would we be? Out on our ears, I'll tell you.
And where would it stop? Why, a new regime might even be tempted to sign an extradition treaty with the United States.
I can see your concern, boys. But what's that got to do with me?
We need you to be the new wizard. You understand what Emerald City needs in a leader, and you are sensitive to the special nuances of our situation.
Yes. I see. I do understand, boys, your nuances, your special circumstances. And I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot broomstick. Count me out. I'm not interested in being your stooge, your puppet, your witch on a string, so you can keep your good lives out of jail. Besides, I've been thinking of retiring now that the Witch Sisters are no longer around to hassle me. I've got that vacation condo over on Munchkin Beach, you know. Figure I'll settle in, take it easy, and finish my memoirs.
Retirement? Memoirs?
Yeah. I've tentatively titled the script Bert, Lar, and Me, The Untold Story. Lots of juicy stuff, like my affair with the Cowardly Lion. I'm going to call that chapter Bold Where It Counts. Nope, my lads, ain't interested. Find yourself another wizard, a tame one. Bye-bye now.
What are we going to do now, Jeff?
Indeed, where will the boys turn next to find a substitute wizard? They ponder the question long and hard. They come up with one name after another.
The Tin Man?
Nope, too emotional. You can't have El Supremo going around blubbering all the time.
The Scarecrow, then?
No way. He can't stand the heat. He'd flame out in a crisis.
And the Cowardly Lion?
You have got to be kidding. Besides the obvious reason, he's moving in with the good witch over on Munchkin Beach. He's got his quivering paws full already.
Their list of whiz-worthy candidates has now shrunk to one. A choice they had hoped not to have to consider. Commandant Adolf von Simeon. Now unemployed, but until the recent unpleasantness, commander of the Flying Monkeys.
Jawohl, mein Herr! You summoned me?
Commandant Van Simeon, my associate, Mr. Flitch, and I are what you might say talent scouts, personal headhunters. We're looking for a new wizard to lead the people of...
The Emerald City. Yeah, I see. So you naturally turn to me. You have done the right thing, I accept. But, yeah, indeed. I should kick some butt in this decadent city, and soon, very soon. We will monitor phone calls, track down the dissidents relentlessly, send the troublemakers off to what shall we call them? Re-education camps in frigid, far-off Cyprenia, where they will check in, but won't check out.
That's not quite what we had in mind, Commander. We'll be advising you, telling you what to do. After all, we've been here for a while, know the ropes, understand the people, know
how to make the railroads run on time, eh? Nein, these are things where I know best. You? Well, I have the perfect jobs for you. Co-superintendents of the re-education camps.
Oh, in frigid, far-off Sabrina, where it's cold?
And snowy all year long?
Ach, no. The winter is only 11 months. There's a lovely week of summer in mid-July. Healthy outdoor climate. You will love it.
Let me confirm with my associate. But first, let me ring for some nice refreshments. Then we can seal the deal.
You rang for tea, sir?
Splendid. Thank you, Birmingham. Commander, you simply must try these special brews. It's made with native poppies. You've probably seen these huge fields of red blossoms out there beyond the city walls.
Thank you. I will. A bit of this strange taste, but quite wonderful. I may even have another cup.
Whew, that was dicey for a moment. But now he's safely asleep, at least until the narcotic wears off, and by then...
Hey, Birmingham, get the laundry trolley and get Horsley, the groom, to help you take the commander to the guest room to sleep off this or overindulgence.
The guest room, sir?
Yes, you know Birmingham. The guest room. In the cellar, the one with all the locks and bars on the door.
Oh, that guest room. The one with the sign on the door that reads, Dungeon?
Yes, whatever. But do it now, right away, before he starts to stir.
Indeed, yes, sir. Right away, sir.
It's the end of the line for our two plotters. There are no more names in their list of candidates to become the new Wizard of Oz. They sit on the palace throne room, looking glumly at the floor. What they need as their new Wiz is someone who will allow their comfortable existence to go on for years and years. Not an uppity witch with literary pretensions. No flying bellhop with jackboots and a tail. What they need is someone beloved by all the people of Emerald City. Someone sweet and caring, yet dedicated and persevering. Someone seen as, well, meek and mild.
Hey, Jeff, I got it.
What? Who? What do you mean?
I got an idea, a great one. Yeah, here, let me get the phone. Operator, get me a long distance. The number? Sure, it's Bumpkin 3689. Right, 3689.
Is it ringing?
Yeah, it's rang once, twice, and now there's two shorts. I think somebody's picking up. Yeah, hello? Hey, hello there, kid. Andy Steele here. You know, the professor's assistant. I'm calling from Oz, the Emerald City. Yeah, really. Good to hear your voice. How you doing, kid? Yeah, I know you're just getting settled in and all, but, well, Jeff Flitch and I, we got an idea. Yeah, for you. Yep, a real great deal with 6-digit salary, country club membership.
Stock options and a great golden parachute package.
Yeah. It's the good life, I can guarantee you that. Now, here's the deal. How'd you like to be CEO of Emerald City? What do you say, Dorothy?
You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. You can be the Wizard of Oz.
And thank you, Don Wilson. And Jensen. So, Mary, where are Brown and Ulstrup with that script?
Hey, I got the first page.
Only one page?
That's all I have.
Don Wilson, cue the dudes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dixie Dudes.
Dream with me and up a lazy river, robin's song, bright new morning, drift along, blue skies up above. Up a lazy river, how happy we will be, up a lazy river.
Jackson, what the heck are you doing?
I'm chopping.
Why on earth are you chopping now?
Well, since we're still waiting on Brown and Ulstrup to finish the script, I thought I'd get something done. I have a big party tonight in Beverly Hills.
Oh, I must have missed that invitation.
Me too.
Me too.
But I have the rest of the script.
Yes, I'm having a dinner party.
Oh, I must have missed that invitation.
Me too.
Me too.
Well, for Pete's sakes, those two are just writing what we've already said. The doorbell, who could that be?
Oh, we just stopped by with our RSVP to say we'd be happy to attend your lovely dinner party. Jack.
It was so good of you, old chap. What with all this script business going on?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Benny. And it was such a lovely invitation with the menu listed and all.
Oh, that wasn't an invitation, Dorchester. That was what I'd like you to prepare for the party. I mean, you can have the leftovers if you'd like.
Yes, of course, leftovers.
Hello. I'm Orson Welles. Did someone say something about dinner at Jack's?
Why, yes, Orson. I'd love to have you there.
Ah, may I bring something?
Sure, whatever you like.
Oh, good. I know a remote farm in Walworth where Mrs. Buckley lives in July peas grow there.
Mary, will you please tell those writers to stop repeating scenes?
I'll do what I can, Jack. Jack, they're already gone. Well, they did leave a note.
A note?
Yeah, it says, gone to the colony. Looks like we're stuck with the script we have.
Too bad we're not back in Emerald City.
Hey, don't I get a line?
That was it.
Mr. Benny.
Was that a gunk?
It was definitely a gunk.
Did I hear my name?
No, I said gunk, not Glinda.
Okay, back to my memories. I'm getting to the juicy parts.
Mr. Benny.
I think we're in a twister.
No, we're not in a twister, just a bad script.
Jawohl, mein Herr. Time to fly the heck out of here.
Mr. Benny.
Yes, Dennis, what is it? Can't you see we're stuck in a bad script?
Well, maybe it's time for the dudes.
Well, that's the best idea I've heard all day. Don, get us the heck out of here.
Well, that, folks, was the new Jack Benny Show. Hey, where's the script? And now, the Dixie Dudes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the WGTD Radio Theater, show number 100. Starring today were the Racine, Wisconsin Honorable John Dickert, Renee Bushell, Siegfried Christoph, Vicki Dumais, Alexa Eves, Todd Eves, Ryan Farrell, Glenn Garside, Jill Jensen, Gary Lean, Susan Lean, Jim McClure, John Alexi, Larry Rowe, Cameron Spencer, and Gary Stam. Special sound effects were created by Barb Tyla. Recorded sound effects were created by Steve Brown. The show was directed by Mike Ulstrup. The WGTD Radio Theater show number 100 was written by Steve Brown and Mike Ulstrup. Today's announcer was yours truly, Kathy Zulke.
Thank you so much for listening to the WGTD Radio Theater's rebroadcast of The Jack Benny Show. This was our 100th show that originally aired in March of 2016. For the WGTD Radio Theater and the 91.1 Players, I'm Steve Brown. Thank you so much for listening.